Welcome to this week's episode of Success in Women. Today we're going to be talking about what do you believe? And when we talk about that, it's in yourself. Now, before we start, we always want to give you a weekly tip, and Andrea's got the tip.
Well, our tip this week, ladies, is, when you go and you pick up take-home food like a pizza or my favorite Swiss chalet, by the time you get it home, it's lukewarm. Well, if you're lucky enough to have car seat warmers, turn on your passenger seat warmer and place your food there. And that will help keep it warm till you get home.
And I guess if you don't have a seat warmer, the person that went with you, you can always get them to sit there for a bit and then put them in the back seat and you can put your food there. And that'll keep it warm.
Keep it nice and warm.
Yeah. Anyway. Again, we want to talk about, believe it in yourself, because what happens to a lot of us is that we develop certain beliefs about ourselves that we might get in childhood, and then all of a sudden we believe it so much. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy in the sense that we hold ourselves back. And I know even in my own situation, Andrea, I can think of one time when I was very young, but I've never forgotten it. And you see, as a kid, if you haven't forgotten something, you know that it's had an impact.
Definitely.
And I'm not sure why, but my sister Nancy had said that I was tongue-tied. And a lot of times when I would be speaking, especially in public, and it's why I've spent so much time and effort and money learning to public speak, because I always felt like I wasn't good enough. Because she had, said that I was...
Put that in your brain.
Yeah, and I believed what she said. Why? Your older sibling could be just ticked at you for something stupid,
right.
And all of a sudden they make fun of you. And as kids, it's easy to say something that's hurtful, but if you internalize it and you carry it with you for years and years and years, it can help hold you back.
Exactly.
And sometimes as we go through life, there's other things that we see signs of that we're not listening, we're not taking in, and we're thinking some things are coincidence that's happening to us or in our life, that we keep trying all these things, like I took all these courses and everything else, trying to get myself better.
Right.
But better in whose eyes?
Exactly. I always say you have to love yourself to feel worthy of great things. And that's why it's so important for young parents to be careful and mindful of how they speak to their kids. Because for us, it might be just oh, you're driving me crazy, but, or you're being so bad. And I've learned through different courses when I was taking them when my children were growing up, that don't refer to the child as bad or bratty, or refer to the thing that they're doing as bad. So, the thing you're doing is very bad. And so that they don't associate it with themselves. It's just something they've done. And you always want to give positive feedback to them, no matter what they bring home. Oh, that's beautiful. Like, yeah, you might not know what it is, but they have to feel that they're doing something good. And never, not to criticize them. Oh, you should have done that, or you should have why didn't you draw this? Like, no, that's what they felt like doing, and let them do it. Like, okay, there's a line where you have to draw. If they're drawing things that are obscene or whatever, then you have to figure out what's going on there. But for the most part, you should be positive and telling them that they are able to do great things.
And it's true. And when you're parenting, or I'm going to say even maybe as a babysitter, when you babysat young kids, you're not experienced and you don't know any better yourself. When you're younger, having kids, or young and babysitting, when you say these things that, like you said, you say the action that they're doing is bad, but you don't necessarily say the child is bad.
Exactly.
Because you can look at today in a lot of different economic backgrounds of children. And sometimes when children are raised in an abusive home, an alcoholic home, a one-parent home, and I'm not saying all the time, but you can see the difference when they were reinforced constantly the negative and bad things. So when the child grows up, they automatically think that they're not good,
They're
and
not
that
worthy. Yeah,
they're
and
not
they act
worthy.
out. They act out at home. They act out at school, and when they're older, they treat other people the way they were treated.
Exactly, because they don't know any better.
They don't know any better.
But you, as the person that went through that, if you keep internalizing it and it's holding you back, you have to stop at some point and saying, okay, why do I give more importance to that person's opinion of whatever it was that they said? So even, for example, in my own situation, I've learned as an adult, and I'm talking about an old adult, because it took a lot of years for me to think, she's not necessarily right. She might have said that out of anger. Maybe I was trying to, horn in on her and her friends. And so she just, insulted me. But that insult had such a major impact for so many years on my life. And I kept thinking to myself, why do I feel inferior to other people? Because they're not tongue-tied and I am. But why was that person, my sister's opinion, so important that I held on to that for so long?
Right.
And when you kind of can look back and you say, no, you know what, if I'm going to say, and because I do have a lot of faith, if God made me that way, and if God made me tongue-tied, then I'm tongue-tied, but he made me that way for a reason. And with whatever strengths or weaknesses I have, I'm still the person that I am. And why should that stop me from progressing like anybody else? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's people that are born, I'll say, physically challenged or mentally challenged, and they go on to do wonderful things because they didn't know they had this disability. Right. Because they were reinforced with all this positivity stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you can get a lot of people. That's why even when you're in the workforce or in other groups where you have a lot of different people, and some seem to be carrying a chip on their shoulder. They seem to be holding on to a lot of anger. They seem to think that, everybody hates them for whatever reason. They think they'll never get ahead because they're not good enough. But that came from somewhere. Mm-hmm. Along the line where they actually believed.
They believed in it, yeah. And that's where I say to a lot of my friends or acquaintances that you're responsible for yourself at a certain age. Stop and think, okay, yes, this happened to me. In my own personal life, I've had things happen. But I didn't let that affect me now because it doesn't have a hold on me. Why should it have a hold on me? I'm an adult now. I can face those fears or those demons, exactly, and say, oh, well, you know what? It's in the past. It happened. I can't change it. I'm going to just move on and make sure that things like that don't happen to my children.
That you don't let them. Absolutely.
Exactly. And I can learn from them, know the signs, and protect them. And that's a good thing that can come out of it.
And that's a good way to put it also, because your self-esteem, you're holding yourself back on your self-esteem because you're letting something, maybe one incident, maybe there were more, but as an adult, you're right. We get to choose every day what we want to believe, what we want to put in here. Why do we have to believe and hold on to something in the past that is not relevant today?
And who cares?
I love that. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Because I know when I was in grade 1 on my report card, it said Andrea is a lovely student, but she talks too much. Well, I do talk a lot, and it's been coming with me my whole journey. People say, "Wow, you like to talk," or yeah, but you know what? I do like to talk. And
it wasn't necessarily an insult either,
no,
but some people could take it that way.
Well, I certainly did. Like she's telling me to be quiet in the classroom, but I thought to myself, I do talk a lot, but a lot of people need friends like that.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to talk. They don't know how to start a conversation. So I'm there. I walk into a room and I can speak to almost anyone. And so you embrace it.
Yeah.
Now I embrace it. Before I thought, sometimes I'd be somewhere, I said, well, maybe I should, lay low a little bit. Maybe I should shut up. But I thought, no, why should I? I enjoy talking. I enjoy being with people. And now I believe it's a good thing.
Well, and it's who you are.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be negative because somebody else said it was negative.
Exactly. That's the thing.
And so if you know, and say that is true, like you said, you're acknowledging it is true. You do like to talk. Well, then use that to your advantage. Don't look at the negative and saying, God, lucky me that I like to talk and I'm comfortable in social settings where I don't know anybody.
Right.
Or in group meetings where you have to speak out.
Right. Well, and it did help when my husband, with the business, and I'd meet new people all the time or be at different functions, and I had no issues, fitting in, because, a lot of women feel that if they're not in a career or have a successful job, that they can't fit in a business
and they're kind
environment.
of in the back of, they're sort of always in the background.
Yeah, whereas that didn't happen with me. I would speak up and, what do you do? I'm a domestic goddess and good at it and loving it. So that's what you have to do. You have to believe in yourself, what you do, and
it's
not worry about what other people think.
Absolutely.
You have to be happy.
And what's interesting about when you say not worry about what other people think, I remember one time having a conversation with somebody, and I can't remember exactly what was going on, but they said, well, Linda, you have to care. And I said, but I don't care, because what difference does it make? What somebody else thinks is not going to change my life. They're not going to have a direct impact. So why do I have to care? Well, you're just supposed to. So it's like if I didn't wear the certain type of clothes at a certain, I'll say, event, or if I didn't say something, whatever. But they were saying you have to care what other people think. And
yeah, I mean, you have to be mindful of what you talk about. You don't want to be insulting people or now this all with the racism and things that are going on. You have to be mindful of certain things, but you don't have to change who you are as a person to please other people. You find yourself getting into trouble that way because you might get a job because you portrayed yourself as something you weren't.
Yeah.
And then you have to keep that up.
Well, it's same actually if you went on a date, it would be the same thing if you pretend to be somebody you're not. And I can't remember, that's why I said I wish I could remember the situation, but this was like a discussion between me and this other person saying I had to care. And I said, but I don't care.
That's right. Because people have to like you for who you are.
Exactly.
And if they don't, like we said in another episode, then that's a negative friendship that you don't need.
Right.
So they don't like me. They don't like the way I dress.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, because that's the one thing. I mean, I don't know about you, Andrea. You are a shopper more than I am. I'm not really into all of the latest and greatest fashion stuff. And, for years I had a friend that taught me how to shop so I can get by now. And I know, but I always kind of felt like I beat it to my own drum anyway.
That's right.
And so I
only buy the things that I love. And I have, I have a friend who's a wonderful shopper, and she'll say, "Oh, you would look great in that." I said, "But I don't like it."
Yeah.
So I just don't buy it. I buy what I like. When I put it on, I know instantly.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you were talking about that because when I was getting my place renovated in Florida, and one of the things that I like personally, I love sitting on stools, so I like being high. So when I was getting my kitchen totally gutted, I wanted a counter that had, I'll say, the
high top.
The high top. And at my house, I had a low top, but it was okay. It worked as well. But I like when it's high. And part of it, you can keep the mess sort of at bay if you're sitting in the dining area.
Yeah.
And so when I was getting it renovated, they said, well, yeah, but that's not really in style. And I'm like, but who's living there?
Right.
I said, I don't care what anybody else thinks. I said, I'm the one who's going to be using it. Yeah, but when you resell at some point, you might lose money on that. I said, listen, if somebody doesn't like it, they can renovate.
Exactly. And my girlfriend just did that. They bought a condo and it had a high top. And
she didn't like it.
It didn't stop her from buying the condo.
Yeah.
And she just got rid of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to do you, as they say.
Yeah, I think that if you
Believe in yourself.
right,
And other people will be attracted to that.
if you can be the best version of you,
Yeah.
it will help you so much more in your relationships and getting ahead and being successful,
Exactly.
because you can't be anybody else. And you can try to, be another type of version of them, but you can never be that other person. So even if you admire certain people, don't become them.
That's right.
Take their good traits, but you have to be true to yourself.
Because you know what? Those people might be saying, wow, I wish I was more like her, more open, more out there, more talkative. You don't know what people are thinking. So you just
Absolutely.
have to always believe in yourself and your qualities and what you have to offer and bring to the table.
And you know what? Really, I think there's a song that says, "Who else can I be but who I am?"
Yeah.
I've always kind of stuck to that because I can't remember if I'm somebody else
Yeah.
who that person is.
Yeah.
Because, and then it will say, oh, well, you weren't really like that, when I'll say we had a date, or, when we met another time with friends or something.
Or don't you ever hear people say, so-and-so when they're with their husband, they're just a different person.
Oh, yes.
Or the husband's different person around the wife. Like, why?
Yeah,
Why?
that's true.
That's not right.
Even the tone changes. I've heard
Yes.
people, and then they answer the phone, hello. And I'm like, wait a minute, who is that person? I didn't hear that person a few minutes ago, but all of a sudden they changed. And I don't ever want to be that person. I
No.
want to be, this is me.
Right.
This is all I want to be is me.
Right.
And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but as long as I try, and I do my best to never offend anybody, I try to treat people like I want to be treated, but I can't be anybody else.
Exactly.
And if you don't like something that I'm wearing, or you come into my house and you don't like the way I've decorated it, it's not for you. I actually did it for myself.
Exactly.
And if you don't want to be there, it's okay. You don't have to stay.
Well, that's like this thing I saw on Facebook. If you don't like dog or cat hair, don't come to my home.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to clean it up for you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I'm not going to change for you.
Yeah.
If you want to come to my home and you don't like, Linda said, you don't like the way I decorate, you're not there to judge my decorating. You're there just to have a coffee, have some
Well, you could be there to judge it, but that's not why I invited you.
Yes.
And so I don't
Yeah, a
care.
lot of people do that.
Yeah, so I don't care then if you don't
Yeah.
like my decorating, because that's not the invitation that I extended to you.
Yeah.
So you can come with your own opinions on anything, and you can, if I ask you, what do you think of this picture on the
Right,
wall,
right.
or something, a furniture placement? If I ask you and you give me an opinion,
That's different.
whether I use it or not, that's fine.
That's fine.
But if you want to come in and just criticize because that's not what you would do, well, so what? In your own home, do whatever you want.
Exactly.
And I always say this because I'm going to be getting company for the weekend, and I live in a very tiny place, but when I'm alone, my place is like a frat house. I always feel like I live comfortably, and my place is never dirty, but it can be messy. And so if I'm caught off guard, you can actually see the true me. But as long as like by invitation or by you telling me you're coming, then my place will always be picture perfect, in the sense that my friends always say, oh, Linda, you don't have to worry, your place is always spotless. And I said, yes, it's always spotless when I know you're coming. But I do have one neighbor that pops in every so often, and
gee.
she's the only one who's really seen it in my natural habitat. So I care enough to be neat for you, but
Yeah.
you know what? If you catch me off guard, that's really who I am.
Yeah.
So
Well, for me, that type of thing, I mean, I've had 3 children, so, and I did have my mother-in-law with me for those 30 some years, so I was always trying to keep things neat and tidy on a regular basis, but other, deep clean when company's coming, definitely. And I remember my father-in-law used to say, we're having company, oh, we're going to eat good tonight. The same type of thing, right?
Well, and my ex used to say that, oh, good, the house is going to get clean
Yeah.
because we're having company. So it's that same idea, you know, you always know, you do try to, you know, be a little better
But some
for
people don't even care if they have company. And
Well, that's
they're
true.
really being true to themselves.
they
But this
absolutely
is
are.
definitely, I'm not going to say it's not who I am, because it is who I am. When people come, I like my house to be clean.
Yeah.
So it is being true to myself. I don't do it I'm not really necessarily doing it for them. I'm doing it for me, because
gives
I
you a
don't want them
reason.
to think,
Yeah.
what a mess.
Yeah.
But anyways,
But it's the whole idea, ladies, of believing in yourself, whatever that is, but being true to yourself.
Yes.
Regardless, whether it's having people over, whether it's at work, in your business relationships that you have, just be true to yourself, and anything that you think might be holding you back from something in your
Yes.
childhood, you got to just stop and say,
Yes.
hey, that's not who I am today.
yeah, that's right.
Let it go.
Let it go and figure out if you need professional
Yeah.
help. They're there too. You
Yeah.
can figure out what's holding you back.
Absolutely. That's a
That's-
really good
yeah.
point, Andrew, because there is a lot of help that will, in some cases, go that quick
That quick.
to detect what it is, talk about it, and then why you think that you need to still hold on to that.
Right.
'Cause
and
once
what you
you-
can do to
Yeah, to
shed
get-
it.
Yeah, just shed it. Like a new season, and with dogs shed in the spring or the fall, whenever they do, the whole thing is you just want to shed it, let it go. It's
Move
water
on.
off a duck's back, and you can move on.
Yes.
So that's this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed it. So we want you to
Like
share.
and subscribe.
I'm Linda.
I'm Andrea.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
ladies.